a fair exchange.
Just be afraid, very afraid.
He's been doing 100% so far. Everything has come true.
Oh, do y'all have the lottery here?
So he's going to win the lottery. He didn't tell me I had to buy a ticket.
Gotta come back soon. Oh, yeah. Oh, is she?
Oh, that stinker.
Oh, I'm just teasing. Don't worry. Don't worry. Really. Come on, don't worry. I can sing it. You can light it, and then I'll sing. All right, good. Thanks. Hi, friends. Shabbat Shalom. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. I'm glad we have some good news to share. The good news is that our tent is up. The other good news is we are keeping you inside tonight. It's a little hot. It's not the right air quality, but we'll be out there probably in a couple of weeks. The other part of our good news is for our tent. You think we don't, but we listen to our congregation, and there is an outdoor carpeting. Ooh. It's not like anything pretty. It's just like turf. But we're preparing it. We're getting it ready. We're getting it wired. And hopefully when things find a little bit of a balance, we'll be outside again. So I wanted to share some good things. It's hot outside. I'm glad we're inside, and I'm glad that we're all together. We just finished Tat Shabbat, so I'm still out of breath. There's a whole bunch of little itty bitties running around on the other side of the building. The other reason why I'm glad I made it here with you. Okay, because that's hard work. So I'm ready for Shabbat. let's turn to page 129. 129. We welcome Shabbat with a melody familiar to a lot of us. It's going to be on the top of the page. If you have one of the versions of our prayer book that has 2 page numbers in it, you're going to follow the page number in blue brackets. In blue brackets. 129. Dondili vanilo haroe pashoshanim dondili. One more time. Dondili vanilo haroe pashoshanim dodini mizot ola min hamidbar mizot ola min hamidbar dodili vanilo haroe pashoshanim dodili pashoshanim dodili. Yafeh. As we always do, I'm going to ask you to turn to someone you do not know and introduce yourself. Share a Shabbat Shalom. Extend a hand. Share your name. Ask what your favorite hobby is. Lovely. Thank you, friends. Let's turn back to page 120. Page 120, we bring another kind of light, a spiritual light, God's light into this space. So Kim's going to come forward to help us light our Shabbat lights. Page 120.
Last time I threw the light on the floor.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kinishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shem Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. Friends, we'll ask you to rise as you are able. 123, we continue with our Kiddush. And if we're going to invite you forward, if you just had or are about to have a birthday, an anniversary, something special that's happening in your lives, a grandchild is getting married soon, we invite you to come forward. We have little cups right over here so we can make a Kiddush together. I'm going to come on this side. Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, mi'ahava uvratzon, inchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים. So, what are the sweet things that brought you up for Kiddush?
Thy granddaughter Emma's wedding shower is tomorrow morning. Tomorrow will be our 63rd wedding.
63rd wedding anniversary. And they're only 25. Yes. Right. Joe.
I got a birthday coming up, and these things are no guarantee.
And a birthday. Alice. It's a big birthday. You're 21. Lovely. Well, happy birthday. Congratulations. It's funny how my congregants lie about their ages. We can be seated. Oh, counting differently. Yeah, sure. Whatever you say. That's pretty funny. Let's turn 138 and 139. Lechadodi, the prayer of our mystics. We continue with the first 5 stanzas. After the 5th one, we jump to the very last one. At that point, our custom here is to rise. We face the open door in the back of the sanctuary, and we welcome the Sabbath bride into our midst. 138. Likrat kala, yalalai, 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 ne Shabbat, ne kavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 ne Shabbat, ne kavela. Shamu v'zachu v'dibur echad, Dash melech, melucha. לך שבט בעמק הבכר, והוא יחמוד עלייך חמלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 לשבת קבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 לשבת קבלה. התנערי מעפר קומי, לבשי בגדי תפארתך עמי, על יד בן ישי בית הלחמי, כל ואל נפשי גאלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 לשבת קבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 לשבת קבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 לשבת לקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 לשבת לקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 לשבת לקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 לשבת לקבלה. Let's be seated. 142. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyon, Oni Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech, Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech, Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Tzitchem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. turn forward to Baruch Hu 146, we'll ask you to rise as you are able. Ya la 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 ya la ya la la ya ya la la ya la ya la la ya ya la 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 ya ya la 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 ya ya la la ya la ya la la ya ya la 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 ya ya la 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 ya ya la la ya la ya la la Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed 151. Let's read together. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Let's be seated. 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. 158. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. יללי ya la la 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 ya la ya la 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 la ya la. Let's turn the page. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום, ועמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. אמן. shelter us beneath your wings. Shelter us beneath your wings, Adonai. Oh, Adonai, guard us from all harmful things. Guard us from all harmful things. Oh, Adonai, keep us safe. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Oh, Adonai. Ashkim venu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Ve'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. We turn the page, the bottom of 162. Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, korei onei Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei onei Shabbat. Mekadesh Shevi Shabbat, Kulam Yisbehu V'yitzangu metu V'cha Shabbat. Yismechu V'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei onei Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei onei Shabbat. V'hashvi'i ratzita bo v'kindashto Shabbat. Karata Shabbat, Zeicher Lemase V'Reishit Shabbat, Zeicher Lemase V'Reishit Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, Korei onei Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, Korei onei Shabbat. Let's turn the page. We rise as we are able. We move into the tefillah together. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ואלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יעלו חסלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Let's be seated. Let's turn to 177. I invite you to read along with me. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. Let's turn the page. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל Tasim leolam, Tasim leolam. Let's take some time for our own private prayer. If you'd like to look at the Siddur, at the prayer book, you can look on 179 through 181, choose a reading to reflect upon, or just take some time for your own quiet and your own reflections or prayers. We'll come together again at the bottom of 180. Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imro. Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru. La la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la la la, ya la la ya la la, ya la 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 ya la la. Oh, say shalom bimromav, oh yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru. Amen. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la la, ya la 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 ya la la, ya la 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 ya la la. La la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la la. Let's turn forward again. 371. In the middle of that page, we find our prayer for healing. Healing of body, and a healing of soul. Anyone who has ever faced life's challenges knows that's not ever one or the other. They're connected, and so we ask for strength for an entire whole person to return to wholeness. If you have one of those little handouts and you open it up, you see lots of other names that are always going to be shared with us. It's in that middle panel there once we open it. Those are folks that are asking us to keep them in our prayers. But sometimes we like to share names out loud, whether they're on the page or in our hearts. So if you have a name to share, let's just fill up this tent. Call them out. We'll join you in this prayer for healing. All of those names that are shared and those that are not and that we're holding tight and close, let's join together for a prayer of healing, of wholeness, wishing them a speedy and complete healing. 371 in the middle of the page. Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. First of all, I really missed the cantor. My hand is killing me. I'm glad she comes back tomorrow. She's probably watching this and saying, ah. So, I haven't thought of something in like 25 or 30 years. I would go to services as a kid, and there would be this rabbi that I knew from camp. It wasn't my like growing up congregational rabbi, but I would see him often, and I would be at camp with him, and he would always say this line at the very end of the service, like a benediction. And when I was in college, I would work for him as a youth director for, I don't know, the rest of my life practically. And so this rabbi would always end with Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom, which means basically, may God grant strength to all of God's people. May God bless God's people with peace. And I always liked it. I thought it was a nice thing. It was sort of like his signature. It was kind of cool. And the longer I got to know him, I was like, oh, he hasn't changed it yet. And I thought that was kind of cute. But I was young, right? And then he's not my congregational rabbi growing up. I would see him sporadically. And then I forgot about this line. And for some reason, it enters Well, I kind of know why. You probably do too. It entered my mind this week, and I've been singing a melody all week long that has these words in them. Adonai oz le'amo yitin, Adonai yivarech et amo b'shalom. May God grant strength to this people, to God's people. May God bless us with peace. And I was thinking about it all week long because, I don't know, I think some of people's traumatic experiences of the world, of war, of kidnapping, of people amazingly being returned, to the United States and to Germany. Like, there's some amazing things happening, and there are things that are just breaking my heart over and over and over again in little pieces. And on some level, I think that's why I have like this thing going on, Adonai oz le'amo yitain, right? Oz is going to be the word for strength, right? God is, don't think of it just as, may God grant strength, like the Psalms say. The Psalm, I know, can be stuffy in English. I understand that. But there's something that's so much more about this Psalm and how it emerges into my head this week. So I want to think about that with you. This is the Psalm, the entire Psalm. The line I just shared is at the very, very end. It's a Psalm of David, David's Psalm. To Adonai, you heavenly beings, to Adonai ascribe honor and might. Ascribe the honor of God's name to Adonai. Bow down to Adonai in holy beauty. Adonai's voice peals across the water. The thunder of the God of honor across great water. Adonai's voice is mighty. Adonai's voice is glorious. Adonai's voice can break cedar trees. And Adonai can smash the cedar trees of Lebanon and make them dance like a calf, like a wild ox. Adonai's voice can carve out flames of fire. Adonai's voice can make the desert tremble. Adonai can make the Kadesh desert tremble. Adonai's voice can pierce oak trees and strip forests. In God's palace, everything says honor. Adonai reigned during the flood, and Adonai will reign supreme forever. Adonai will give strength to God's people. Adonai will bless God's people with peace. In English, I don't find that soothing, right? Thunder, God is super strong, right? Piercing oak trees. Okay. It's not really working for me in English. But then I look at Mark Bretler, a professor of Bible in Brandeis, and he looks at this text and saying, okay, in this academic scenario, looking at the history of it, what's going on here? We have other ancient Near Eastern texts where other gods could do these things, so it kind of makes sense that the God of Israel not only can do it, not only can be the strongest on the block, because that was a big thing in terms of ancient gods. Their gods had to be the strongest on the block. Not only was ours the strongest on the block, but even more importantly, God shared that strength with us. So if God has strength, the purpose is not to pierce the oak. The purpose is to give it to you and to me, because sometimes these weeks we can feel kind of weak and tired and heartbroken. If you look at another scholar, this time not the academic, rigorous, university professor, now we look at a feminist thinker, Ellen Frankel, and she is brilliant and insightful, and she is capturing on this idea of a voice. Now, the term in the Psalm that we use in Hebrew is kol, right? And kol can be either a voice or it could be thunder. And it's kind of interesting. So her read of this isn't the thundering voice like Sinai where there's thunder and God is giving all of these commandments. She's thinking more of the voice that Elijah encounters. So Elijah is this amazing protector of the covenant, but feels depressed at a certain point, literally depressed. And he retreats to a cave. And then all of a sudden, he recognizes that you don't get to encounter God through a fire or earthquake or thunder or any of these grand things. God's not in the wind. There is maybe you've heard this expression, a still small voice, right? A whisper. Maybe for me, when I think of this, God shows up for Elijah because Elijah's in a crisis, and it's a voice of comfort, not of authority. And Ellen Frankel is going to look at this psalm and say, God is the end of this, is giving strength. So you must be in a place of having some hurt or vulnerability. What's the voice that you need to hear? Is it the commanding voice that says, get off the couch? I need that voice sometimes. I confess. Or is it going to be a gentle healing voice? Sometimes we think our heroes are always warriors, but maybe our heroes can also be healers. Can God be the hero healer, not just the warrior that we're kind of trained to receive as somebody who does good in the world? So we have the academic who thinks God is the strongest on the block. We have the feminist who is going to look at another kind of voice. What's the more subtle message coming from the text? There's still many more interpretations. The mystics are going to notice that this word kol, that could be thunder or voice, is mentioned 7 times in this psalm. 7. 7 is a holy number. It's a mystical number. There are 10, we know of 10 attributes. Well, there's a certain category of like the lower 7, right? The ones that are maybe the most accessible, you can imagine it. And so maybe God speaks to us in different times with different voices. Maybe it's the one that says, get off the couch. Maybe it's the one that says, okay, relax, I'm here, I'm present. Maybe it's some other voices. And so we get to ask ourselves, can we be open to hearing a kol? I don't want to say voice because you're going to say that's a little bit too literal and wonky for me. So let's use the Hebrew. Is there a kol out there that you might be able to receive, the one that you need? The one that you need today to help you journey into tomorrow and the week ahead? Is there something else that we can have at this moment as an encounter? Because life is hard. And for some reason, we think it's not supposed to be. But it is. And while I'm not a big believer in bouncing back from things, I'm a huge believer in bouncing forward. And if we are able to bounce forward from some of the hard stuff that we might be witnessing or experiencing or watching on the news or hearing from friends or whatever it might be, is there a kol that I might be able to receive, you might be able to receive, that can lead us forward? A voice, a message, a something, a presence. Is there a still small voice? Or even if we are one of those people that think God really is the strongest on the block, and I'm not one of those people. But if we are, any way you look at it, and I give you 3 tiny examples, the goal of this strength isn't to hurt. It's not to fight. I believe that sometimes we have to. And I hate that. But I do think that it's true sometimes. But ultimately, the goal is when we are feeling some sort of vulnerability that we get God's strength. I don't believe that God controls anything. I'm not a believer that God has power to intervene. If that was true, I'd be pissed. Can I say that here? Well, I just did. You're okay with that. That's fine. If God is real, which I believe, and if God is a significant presence in our lives, which I believe, but if God doesn't have the power to change our realities, some of us might say, well, then what's the point? I think we have been given huge reservoirs of strength. Sometimes they're hidden deeper than for other people. And I think our Jewish journeys and rituals and traditions and ideas get to help us find those reservoirs and open them up so we can be fueled with love and strength and comfort and empathy so we can move forward. I'm worried about what's going to happen in Israel and Gaza and Palestine. I think that's part of this mantra for me. On one hand, I understand the fight, but on the other hand, the way the fight is being fought sometimes can bring such terrible consequences to the people of Israel, specifically from Iran. And I'm nervous. I'm really nervous. And so I've been thinking, Adonai oz le'amo yitain. God's going to give all of these people strength to figure out how to go to the grocery store and feed their families. How are we going to persevere? How do we find resilience? What are we supposed to think from this country? How do we manage all of these feelings? You get the picture. So I'm going to say the last two things. The end of the psalm. Adonai oz le'amo yitin, Adonai yivarech et amo b'shalom. May God grant strength to all of God's peoples, and may God bless God's people with peace. Strength to those who have lost. Strength to those who need healing. Courage to those who respond and continue to do so. Let's think about these couple of hundred people fighting these fires. Courage to those who support and carry those who have fallen. And my closing prayer is going to be a poem from a man some of us are familiar with. His name is Yehuda Amichai. And Amichai wrote a poem called Wild Peace. And it's a favorite of mine. He says, not the peace of a ceasefire, not even the vision of the wolf and the lamb, but rather as in the heart when the excitement is over and you can talk only about a great weariness. I know that I know how to kill. That makes me an adult. And my son plays with a toy gun that knows how to open and close its eyes and say, Mama. A peace without the big noise of beating swords into plowshares, without words, without the thud of the heavy rubber stamp. Let it be light, floating like lazy white foam. A little rest for the wounds. Who speaks of healing? And the howl of the orphans is passed from one generation to the next as in a relay race. The baton never falls. Let it come like wildflowers. Suddenly, because the field must have it. Wild peace. Leinu l'shabech. We conclude the service. 586, the bottom of the page. 586, we ask you to rise as you are able. Aleinu l'shabech l'Adon hakol, l'atei gdula liyotzeh b'reishit, shelo asanu k'kayei haratzot, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש. 588 שהונות השמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבותה אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. We turn the page. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ויאמרו יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. May be seated. Zichronam levacha. May their memories be for a blessing. If you are observing a yahrzeit, the anniversary of one's death, or if you are in a period of mourning, we invite you, if you choose, to rise for a moment, share the name of the one whom you are remembering, and then we'll continue with additional names from our community. Yeah, friends. Would you like to share?
My grandmother, Lily Wexelbaum Lee.
My father, Burton Hobson. My sister, Rosita Elizabeth Gard.
We also remember in the period of Shloshim, those first 30 days, Everett Redburn, a dear friend of Hannah McGinty, Barbara Traeger, a beloved member of our community, Jane Aronson, the mother of Amy Aronson, and we haven't shared the news yet, but it's the last of our founders of our congregation, Stanley Goldberg. Actually, Stanley was the architect of the original building in the 60s, and that sanctuary, this sanctuary comes later. The social hall now was our sanctuary, and he made it mauve. So we remember Stan, the dear husband of Vicky Yucha. Funeral is probably going to be Monday morning here at the synagogue, and then we'll go to Green Mountain. We're going to try and get an email out once we confirm everything on Sunday. Those yahrzeits that we recall for this week that has passed: May Ablowitz Hoffman, Joseph Abrams, Phyllis Baer, James Bernstein, Nancy Blackie, Harriet Buxbaum, Abraham Cohen, D. Dallas Culver, Sarah Eckstein, Joseph Friedman, Graciela Elizabeth Geyer, William Goodman, Gertrude Gould, Jordan Green, George Gustav Greshler, Nathan Halpern, Ann Hausman, Betty Hoke, Fred Kasprinsky, Maurice Lefko, Benjamin Levine, Benjamin Levitt, Lily Levy, Robert Malcolm Loomish, Babe Matusoff, Mark Milovitz, Joanne Muller, Maxine Newman, Fanny Newman, James Pagter, Martha Price, Audrey Jean Robbins, Julian Lawrence Robinson, Cindy Scarlino, Adam Silverman, Molly Lorber Snyder, Sam Spivak, Sydney Streer, Norma Turner, Goldie Wigato, Sylvia Young, Yaakov Zalewski. Kaddish is on page 598. We stand together, shoulder to shoulder, supporting our friends who are mourners this Shabbat, surrounding them with love. 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chay dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kari v'meru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omei amaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shamed kudisha v'rechu la'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'meru amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'meru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yemeru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn, all who hurt, here and everywhere. Let's say together, amen. May be seated. Let's conclude on page 643. The staff is starting to come back from vacations. We are starting to plan for the year ahead. There's lots of things that are in the works we're excited to share with you. We have announced, when working with a search group, the way we've said, we have announced the position for our executive director, so that just was launched yesterday. And with God's help, we will find somebody soon. And want to make sure that folks have a chance to meet Shira. Shira is our new engagement and family education coordinator. You want to wave? So Shira, who's been hanging out here with us for a while now, is now part of our staff team, and we are just delighted. Ben hangs out with Shira and does a lot of other volunteering with us too, and we couldn't be happier that she's part of the staff, and we have lots of fun ahead of us. Yeah. Let's conclude. 600, what did I say? 43, and I think it might be at the top of the page. The words say that, everything is really so narrow, and the most important thing is, lo lefached, don't be afraid. But the truth is, sometimes I am, and I think that's okay. The point of it is, I go over the bridge anyway, and that I think is the most significant part. Kol haolam kulo geshet sameo geshet sameo geshet sameo kol haolam kulo geshet sameo geshet sameo v'ha'ikar Ha Yallay, yay, yay, yallay, 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 yay, 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 yallay, yallay, yay, 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 yallay, yallay, yay, lay, yay, lay, lay. Kol haolam kulo gesher tsar meod, gesher tsar meod, gesher tsar meod. Kol haolam kulo gesher tsar meod, gesher tsar meod. והעיקר, והעיקר, לא לפחד, לא לפחד כלל. והעיקר, והעיקר, לא לפחד כלל. יאי, 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 ילאי, ילאי, יאי, לי, יאי, לי, יאי, יאי, ילללי, יאי, 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 ילאי, ילאי, יאי, לי, יאי, יאי, יאי. Shabbat Shalom, friends. Wish your neighbors a Shabbat Shalom. Let's make a motzi together before we go. Have a little nash, meet a new neighbor, and a good Shabbos. Thank you. Good. I appreciate that.